Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about another delay for a big third-party Switch 2 game and more. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
Happy Sandwich Wednesdays to those that celebrate. Get the bread out, everybody. A Sandwich Wednesday can be a PB&J. It could be a ham. It could even be an ice cream sandwich if you're feeling a little funky
Jan,
today.
could it be a hot dog?
Get out. Leave.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Hot dogs are a very special thing that we cannot ruin the sanctity of.
I should not even be joking about such a thing. I recognize that. Yes. All right. Well, now you got me ready for Sandwich Wednesday. I'm already thinking about what sandwich I'm going to do. What is... If someone says sandwich and you have to do like association, Jan, what is the thing that pops into your head first? Like, what is the sandwich?
I've been really wanting a mortadella sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mortadella.
Yeah.
I think I'm at a point in my life where club sandwiches are back to being like the sandwich, almost like a cartoony looking club sandwich. You get another piece of bread in the middle there. What's going on?
I am offended. Cartoons have already given me an unrealistic expectation, not only on several things, but
Anvils,
particularly
quicksand. Yeah.
Floating through the sky when I smell a nice pie.
Exactly.
I have never in my life, and I've gone sandwiches multiple places, different varieties, ever had a sandwich with a toothpick and an olive on top.
Oh, okay. All right, but there's definitely places that have done that. They're usually going to be like delis. I think there's a deli in, I think called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's in Columbus. It's a famous deli, Katzinger's, I think, and they do that. I definitely have had that in my sandwich there, and I felt very pleased. Very, very good deli. Man, sandwiches. I can't just go. Listen, I don't mind Subway, and I don't even mind Jimmy John's.
No.
But I do feel like I got to do a real sandwich now, Jan. You got me thinking. Got me thinking about sandwiches. All right, we should get on with the show and explain ourselves and explain what we do. We're Giant Bomb. We're internet video game doofuses. We're out here on our own. Unless you go to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member. The reasons you would do that is to support independent games media, to ensure that we can keep doing this, and you can feel good about putting your money where your mouth is, and making sure that we keep getting the kinds of coverage of video games that we all want to do and we all want to see. We appreciate everyone who has come through so far and done exactly that. It also gets you ad-free versions of our episodes. It gets you a bunch of cool new premium shows we've been working on. Portal Pals is getting started right now. 9 Lives of Mr. Mistopheles is hitting its stride. Portal Pals. We did the Millionaire This Is the Run. You guys should go watch that. Lots of awesome stuff happening on the website if you become a member. If you can't afford it, we get it. Absolutely get it right now. I'm doing my taxes. I get it. Save your money. Tell your friends about us instead, or hang out and chat. Be part of the community. We notice that as well. It makes us feel like real good. It makes us feel like we're working towards something, and that is the end goal, to have a cool community on the internet. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with People of Note reviews. This is one we just did a quick looky X of. Looked pretty solid, and a lot of reviews seem to like it quite a bit. It's hovering between a 79 and an 80 right now on OpenCritic. When I just kind of lock things in. Look, same score as Crimson Desert, right? So people love that. People love this. 79 right now. GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10 and said, even if we're not seeing the members of Cadence's band blend their sound together much in the story, we at least can see it happening during combat. And while that combat drags a bit in the last act of the game and messes with your mind by not matching the tempo of the QuickTime inputs to the background battle music, the turn-based system that's there rewards creativity and strategic thinking. And then DualShockers, Daniel Trock gave it an 8.5 out of 10, said still overall it's a rock solid highly enjoyable experience, and I'd wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who likes good, old-fashioned turn-based combat and musical references. Also, if and when they release an official soundtrack,
Oh,
I will play it on a loop until my speakers wear out, especially the Irish battle music. That track is straight fire. Yeah, Jan, I know you guys came out of that play session being like, yeah, this is really something.
yeah. I walked away very pleased with it. I already had a little bit of buzz going in, not because of our dear friend that is a voice in the game, but also the premise of having a musical video game isn't something that's pursued a lot. We talked about this in the quick look, but something that happens a lot, at least in Hollywood lately, is a musical movie will be hidden under several
Yes.
trailers, just because they're scared of the perception of the general movie-going populace balking
Yeah.
at the concept of a musical, which
People say I won't go see musicals, and then they'll go watch a musical and not even really think about it. Be like, I like that once they're there, but they can't know beforehand, apparently.
Yes, 100%. But I like that this game has not shied away from the fact that it is a musical. Musical rhythm-based elements compose a lot of this game, and it's just generally very charming. I appreciate terrible, stupid puns. Parentheses positive.
Yeah, the more I hear about it, the more I'm like thinking about checking this out. At least gonna give it a shot. Do you think it would work on like a Steam Deck? Because I know.
Think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll give it a shot and see what I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. James Bond is the latest major Switch 2 port to get delayed. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. 007 First Light is Hitman Maker IO Interactive's upcoming James Bond game. It was one of the major third-party games shown during the Nintendo Direct for the original Switch 2 reveal, but it's no longer coming to the platform day and date with the other console versions following a last-minute delay. 007 First Light comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on May 27th, 2026, and Nintendo Switch 2 later this summer, IO Interactive announced on Wednesday. We're excited to see players discovering James Bond's reimagined origin story, and we are looking forward to bringing you the best game experience possible across all platforms. The statement comes in response to an online leak alleging the Switch 2 port had been indefinitely delayed. IO Interactive didn't immediately respond to a request for comment about why the Nintendo version won't be ready on time. Later this summer might not sound like too much longer for fans on Switch 2 to have to wait, but 007 First Light isn't the first game to go through porting issues. Borderlands 4 was supposed to come to Switch 2 last fall, but was also delayed at last minute. After months of silence, Gearbox Entertainment quietly acknowledged that the development of the port had been indefinitely suspended with no clear insight into why. From Software's Elden Ring, another one of the first ports revealed for Switch 2, is still also MIA. A playable version appeared at Gamescom 2025 in rough shape, though more recent hands-on impressions have suggested that the open-world RPG is finally running at a better frame rate on Nintendo's next-gen console. Jan, you got that, right?
Yeah.
You touched that, right?
I got to check that out during GDC. It performed completely fine. I was playing on handheld. My eyeballs are weird where I can't quite tell if it's like a full 60 sometimes. Definitely above 40 at least.
Yep. It's I think that 40 would be fantastic because it's a 120 hertz screen.
I ran straight from the opening area where you pop out of the church straight to Margit, and that whole time running on Torrent the horse, completely fine.
Yeah, so there's been a mix of sort of deliverables from these companies in terms of the quality of their third-party port to the Switch 2 over this last year. And there are some instances where it is a Gearbox not porting Borderlands on time and then basically canceling it. And I could see how that happens because for as much as the Switch 2 does seem more capable, to the point where we can get a Resident Evil Requiem in tip-top shape, a real great way to play that game. That's fantastic. The game still was like not the number one bestseller on the Switch 2 that month that it launched. It was kind of down further on the chart where it was, a smash hit on every other platform. Third-party games are still in a questionable state of desirability from that Switch audience. That audience might have other platforms where they're playing those games, and they just don't associate a good experience with third-party AAA releases. So, I like if you're looking at the money, like how much longer is it going to take to get this running on Switch 2? Is it going to be worth it to get Borderlands 4 across the finish line? Maybe not. I'm kind of hoping James Bond isn't in that case. I think it stands a chance of doing a little bit better just because it's fresh and new and there's some James Bond loved for Nintendo fans.
I think that's the case as well, Grubb. I feel like Borderlands 4, it's an older franchise at this point, came out to like very mixed reviews upon launch that I can't imagine it is something that Switch 2 owners are clamoring to be a part of. That being said, I feel like Borderlands 4 or a Borderlands style game is something you can kind of like turn your brain off and engage with and play casually on the Switch 2. But like you said, I hope James Bond it doesn't get too delayed on the Switch 2 because newer IP or new introduction to a newer James Bond, and I think folks may resonate with that. I think it's gonna be a slow uphill battle for third parties to find their footing on the Switch 2. And I think same thing with audiences to be able to accept like, oh no, this is a viable place now to also pick up these third-party games on the Switch 2. And I hope Requiem and eventually Pragmata are going to be good examples to encourage folks to move forward.
Yeah, I like you're right. Like there's a perception between a game on the Switch and a game elsewhere where it's like, look, I hear people say I had a good experience playing Resident Evil Requiem on Switch 2, but I know I'm not getting the full experience I could be getting if I played it on one of those slightly more powerful platforms. It's like, yeah, for sure. I get that. I just don't feel like I missed out on anything playing the game on Switch 2. Does that move you? And I like for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, no, I hear you. We're still talking about $70, $80. And it's hard to be like, okay, I'm going to pay $70 to $80 and recognize I'm not getting the best possible experience I could be getting and just be happy I'm getting one that is, good enough or beyond, maybe a little bit beyond good enough. But it's just that conversation you have with yourself is difficult.
Yeah, I feel if anything, this is for people that only have a Switch 2, may have hesitated to get a PS5, or maybe they just wanted to get a Switch 2 for specific Nintendo releases, haven't adopted or really participated too much in this current console generation. It's a good alternative and it's a good option to be able to pick up those games. And I think it is encouraging that you get something that is like RE9 and with the caveat of like, this isn't going to look amazing, but I can still play it. I can still engage with it.
So like a year from now, we might be talking about a Switch 2 that had received within that last 12-month period games like a new Call of Duty. And the Duskbloods is coming. And maybe EA starts coming through with some more support from its sports games or whatever. In that situation, do you think like Nintendo Switch 2 third-party support builds up momentum? Or is it going to be the select few games here or there that kind of maybe break through and that's it?
I think it's going to build up momentum. I think it's inevitable momentum because I think we're ultimately going to see some slowdown on the PS5. On the Xbox, where the Switch 2 audience I can only see growing from here on out, Grubb. Just because of the different miscellaneous first-party titles. I've seen so many friends shell out to get a Switch 2 just for something like Pacopia, and I assume there's going to be another one of those killer apps to come out from Nintendo that folks just need to have, and if that's their only thing, but they still want to continue playing other games, those other games slowly trickling over, I think, are going to eventually have success.
Yeah, I think Duskbloods continues to be the one where not really a third-party game. I think Nintendo's publishing it, at least in some regions, whatever. But it's from software. It means a lot. That game's going to be indicative of like Switch 2 in a lot of ways because it's exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's the game I don't associate with like Nintendo traditionally. Let's see what audiences do with that. But yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I think the sickos are going to show up, Grubb.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what is happening right now. Someone was mentioning this on Last of the Nintendogs last night in one of our comments. They were saying, "Do you feel like Nintendo is building up a first year and a half of games that are a lot of? I will pick that up also once I eventually get a Switch 2 for Mario or Zelda." And it's like, yeah, I mean, I think they found themselves in this situation. They're trying to set that up. But I do think that they're like, I've seen a lot of people on subreddits for like From Software saying, man, I am not going to get a Switch 2. This, and they're like, this game's going to fail because no one's going to get a Switch 2 for Duskbloods, which we know is not true.
Yeah.
But some people might feel that way, and I wonder if between games like Tomodachi Life and Pacopia, these interesting games that like have taken off and have a lot of viral success, if stuff like that becomes one more weight on the side of, all right, I guess I will get a Switch 2 for Duskbloods because it's not just Duskbloods. I'm getting some of these other games as well. And I think that's possible. I think that could happen. And a lot of it will come down to just how good is that game really. It's using some secret sauce in terms of apparently the name for Duskbloods in China is the exact same name they used for Bloodborne. I don't know if like people who probably know that language much better can figure that out and tell me for sure if that's true. But I've seen people saying that. It's like, okay, they're really going for it.
I feel like this is going to be the closest From fans will get to another Bloodborne.
At least anytime soon, yep.
I mean, when we saw the initial reveal trailer, I think all of us were saying, Bloodborne, Bloodborne, Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So I think those fans will be pleased that this is, the closest taste of an updated Bloodborne we'll get. And I think it's inevitable, Grubb, that it's going to hit. You look at the Elden Ring numbers, and
I mean Night Rain numbers, right? Like Night Rain was this weird other thing, and it's huge. It crushed, and this has the potential to be similar. I think like we don't know exactly how it's going to play. I think people are speculating it could have some extraction elements, and I know that's going to scare people away initially. But Night Rain was huge, and it's kind of similar, so I think they'll be able to figure out with Duskbloods. Especially, this is Miyazaki's next game.
Yeah,
that alone is going to go a long way.
Cat Mion in the Twitch chat saying, if this is Bloodborne Night Rain, holy smokes, Grubb, it's
right.
Going to be game over, parentheses positive, because all the sickos will just be out in the full moon and not roaming the streets of Yarnum, perhaps, but a different gothic European city.
Yeah, Narnyam. Instead, yeah. Narniam. All right, let's get to this next story here. Absolum arrives on Nintendo Switch 2 in a new physical version later this year from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Technically, Absolum is already playable on Nintendo Switch 2 thanks to it having a Switch version you can buy on the eShop. However, soon it'll be getting a dedicated release for the next-gen Nintendo platform, courtesy of Silver Lining Interactive. As you can see, there's the video below. Absolum gets a new physical edition on Nintendo Switch 2 in Q3 this year, which will cost £45 or 50 euros. I bet that will be around 45 to 50 bucks, obviously, which is more than double the price of the game on Steam right now. However, there are hopes for some performance upgrades from the Nintendo Switch version. Also, it has been confirmed that it won't be a game key card, and instead will be offered as a full game on the card. So yeah, hey, that's the main reason I included this. I thought people would want to know that. Jen, I'm just never going to go back to being a physical collector. But occasionally there are a couple games where I'm like, that was cool, kind of special to me. I like that they're getting physical special editions later. And this is one where I might pick this up just to have it on the shelf. I thought Absolum was really awesome.
Yeah, I'm in a very similar boat, Grubb, where I think, at least with video games, I'm past the point where I want to engage in physical media just because of, my lobster's too buttery, my steak is too juicy. But like, we just are inundated with so many games that I could not possibly fathom having all of them on a shelf.
Yes, same.
And at this point, if a game really speaks to me or affects me, I'd probably just go buy some art from the game or some other piece of media.
Yeah, for sure.
But for folks out there where, this is still a big issue, this is a big thing, I'm happy to see specifically an indie studio recognizing that there is a need for the actual game on the cart.
Yep. I mean, every time that this happens, I think there's an army of Switch 2 physical game collectors who activate and like, all right, we are supporting this game because it's game on card, and we want to show that is the motivating factor for us, and they're going to get an awesome game out of it as well because it absolutely rules.
That being said, Grubb, you should. You are free from the chains of titter now.
Yeah, I can just go play that on my own.
That being said, if and when I eventually move, Grubb, I am thinking about, what if I become a Blu-ray sicko?
I mean, that I get, right? I mean, building a movie collection on a wall. I don't know. I get
But
why people
then
have a
just
video game
build a
collection
better
as well.
Plex server.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I do. Every time I have that conversation with myself, I just go back and spruce up the Plex server. All right. Chainsoftitter.mp3, everybody. Look out for it coming soon. Let's take a break. Plenty of more headlines to get into. We'll do that after these ad messages. If you want to skip out on the ads, you should do so. Go to giantbomb.com/join. Become a premium member. There you can get ad-free versions of the audio and video program. In the meantime, however, we will be right back. All right, we are back with Game Mess Mornings. That's Jan Ochoa. I'm Jeff Grubb. We're getting back into the headlines here with Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake reveal seemingly set for April 16th. Insider Gaming is reporting that Ubisoft is preparing to reveal Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, which is officially titled Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, next week on Thursday, the 16th of April. This has not yet been confirmed by Ubisoft themselves, but Insider Gaming is pretty certain that's when the unveiling is scheduled to happen. The site says that the announcement has been planned for April 16th for some time, and that the game is scheduled to release in the fiscal year of 2027 Q2, which is anywhere from June to August of this year. So, yeah, keep that in mind. That's this year still. Yeah, okay, we've been waiting for this one for a long time. It always feels like, yeah, that's about to come out, and then something crazy happens where Ubisoft cancels a bunch of games, delays all their other games, has one of numerous 100-person layoffs, one right after the other. It's like, can they even release another game over there at Ubisoft? They're obviously falling apart at the seams. But this one has always been like, isn't it done? Is it coming? All right, yeah, I will still probably be interested to see what this looks like, because I get why these companies all want to do these. It feels like free money at a certain point, and the industry has shown that companies that go back to their back catalog, spruce these games up, can make a lot of money. This game is not that old, right? I mean, I guess it's getting old now, but it was from 2013, I want to say.
Grubb, that's old now.
That's old now. That's 13 years ago. But it's like, if they released this game today, it wouldn't look that different than what it looked like back then, is all I'm saying.
Sure.
So it's just, I want to see what they're doing with it.
100%. That being said, too, though, Grubb, I don't know why, but I've kind of been in the mood to just run around roofs and assassinate folks and just like throw powders and poison darts and whatnot.
Yep.
So I think there may be a slight hankering, and maybe I'm hankering for games where I can just kind of turn my brain off. And I most fondly remember that with the Assassin's Creed games, at least the earlier side of them. This is also probably, this is going to hurt to say, Grubb, but this is someone's childhood franchise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the kids who were playing this, when they were like 12, they're now running around. Yeah, they're in their mid-20s now. So they could be in this audience right this second.
Yes.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. So I think them wanting an updated version of the game would do well. And Grubb, you said it. It's free money, right? We've seen the success of the Uncharted remake remasters, especially The Last of Us out there. And I feel like in a similar vein, Assassin's Creed is kind of that, like, it has become a dad game in my head. Where it's like, okay, like, just throw the popcorn on, let's just go assassinate some fools and just play a game-ass game.
Yep, it's it's the thing where they started introducing tourism modes to these games, where instead of just playing the game, you get to explore the setting, and there's like extra details about the world, and maybe even like some like voiceover narrative of the developers explaining like the architecture or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, that is a huge part of like the reason people come to these games. It is for this escapism and to see these things that they can only see in a game. So yeah, that's cool, and I think that they can make that work. But I wonder if they're like, oh no, Assassin's Creed was once, like someone in chat pointed it out. There were gamers who were like, all I play are FIFA and Assassin's Creed every year. I get the new FIFA, I get the new Assassin's Creed. It was one of those games. And I don't know if Assassin's Creed ever returns to that sort of prominence, but they can make it like feel more important and matter more if they give it some love, similar to what Capcom's done with Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, but I also echo your worries and sentiment, Grubb, that can Ubisoft just ship this? Are they
Yeah.
capable of this? Because we heard about the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake until the sand ran out for that game.
Yes.
And it felt like, or it seemed like, it was very close to the finish line. Now, all things considered, there were a couple of things that Ubisoft was not happy with. But for that game to get that far, and then for several other projects to be canceled by Ubisoft, the worry is there that can they do this?
Yep. Their future is so uncertain. It does feel like there's more collapse waiting to happen there before they figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this game's not going to change their fate in any way. So I just hope it comes out. It's good. The people who worked on it can secure their futures and do a lot of this kind of work into the future. If a bunch of Assassin's Creed remakes have to happen so that a bunch of people could stay employed, I will take that. I'll be happy about it. All right, next up, leaker claims Nintendo is looking to pitch a Luigi's Mansion movie. This is from My Nintendo News. A leaker with an intermittent track record, Special Nick, he's pretty good about Nintendo these days, has said that he's heard that Nintendo is looking to pitch an animated movie based on the beloved Luigi's Mansion franchise. The company would presumably employ the talents of Illumination, who are behind the Super Mario Brothers movie and the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I mean, Jan, everything's on the table at this point, right? Because after that second movie crushed,
Yeah.
they have to be like, okay, that worked again. Now we can really start to expand. We've already heard rumors that they're working on a Donkey Kong movie. They got to be looking at what else they could be doing. Obviously, I think they want to stay pretty close to that Mario core because that is what's proven. And there's almost certainly a Luigi's Mansion game coming up soon, right? So all of these things line up to the point where Nintendo's like, we should have that movie.
100% Grubb. And I feel like Illumination's like hit record is actually pretty high outside of the Mario stuff. If we're just looking at Minions, Secret Life of Pets, I forget what
several
other
billion-dollar movies. Yes,
100% that the Mario stuff just feels like a victory lap for them, where they can like, oh, we could kind of just do whatever with these guys and it'll sell gangbusters. But that being said, I would love a Luigi's Mansion movie. I would love more Charlie Day and things.
Yep. Yes, exactly. They have a cast that's kind of nailing it, like especially when it comes to Charlie Day. I think he's great as Luigi. And I think I don't know. I think they could do a Luigi's Mansion movie and actually make it just a better movie than the Mario movies have been, because the Mario movies have to serve so much. They have like so many references they want to make. Luigi's Mansion can do that, but it can scale it all down and focus on Luigi in a fun, spooky house trying to find Mario. I would welcome that.
Also, Grubb, this would mean that we wouldn't have to worry about Chris Pratt in the movie because he probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah, he got captured, and we just don't have to hear from him at all.
Got ghosted.
We could hear Charlie Day doing his Mario, which is what I want.
I think it's interesting watching the press tour for this movie and how
it is.
How siloed off Chris Pratt is from the rest of the cast, because they are continuing to push, and I still haven't seen the movie. They're pushing Anya Taylor-Joy very hard, of course, Jack Black very hard, of course, but also Donald Glover, and kind of smoothing Chris Pratt aside, despite being the star and the titular character of the movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of times you could just tell that when he's talking, he's like, right, isn't there this thing in the movie and he doesn't really know? And he's kind of waiting for Jack Black, who will know, or like Anya Taylor-Joy, who also seems to know, and obviously Brie Larson, who definitely knows. He's kind of waiting for them to take over his thought so that he could be like, I think this is in there. Can you guys help me out? Is what every answer to his questions feels like. It's very fun.
It's such an interesting cast when I think about it, Grubb, and this is thinking about the movie way too much, right? Where you have people that seem like people in like Charlie Day, Donald Glover, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, or Keegan-Michael, what's his last name?
Keegan-Michael Key is right.
Okay.
Yes.
and like ostensibly normal people. Throw in Benny Safdie for good measure.
Uh-huh.
And then you have like someone that has become a robot, like Chris Pratt.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Chris Pratt's like, man, I don't think he gets why people don't like him. It's like, I would leave the Jesus stuff at home, homie. That's what we need. Yeah. I still enjoy a lot of those interviews because it is like obvious, like Brie Larson is having the time of her life.
Brie Larson, also a normal person.
Yes, she's super normal, and she's like seems so happy to have like escaped the YouTube reactionary video hell that she was in for so long. Where now even those people are like, it's awful because they're not going at her, but they're taking credit for her being better. And it's like, I still want to beat the shit out of you dudes.
Shut up.
At the very least, yes, I'm sure she'll take this because they're leaving her alone. And it's like, God, thank God. Yes, she's having a great time. That is infectious. I really enjoy her interviews so far for this movie. All right, let's see here from the next story. Maybe Link shouldn't talk in the Zelda movie, says Majora's Mask creator. This is from Jen Glennon at Polygon. Basically, the Imamura who worked on Majora's Mask did an interview and was just like, yeah, the moment Link speaks, I can't help but worry a little that the Zelda magic everyone has been nurturing in their hearts might vanish into thin air. Now that the Super Mario Galaxy movie has been out for a few days, this is someone else asking a question, but they put it in quotes. Okay. I think that if the magic of Zelda is so fragile that the second Link speaks, it vanishes, what are we even doing here? I think these characters are strong enough that Link can talk and things won't fall apart at the seams. Jan, what do you think?
I think it's completely fine and reasonable for this character to talk in a movie.
Yeah. I get like these people who like worked on Zelda like have like strong opinions about it.
Oh, of course.
But I guess I did always just assume like that's still Miyamoto, and it's like no, I think everyone at Nintendo or a lot of people at Nintendo actually feel that way as well. But yeah, he's got to talk in the movie, and it can't be like going into this thinking that might ruin the character. It's like that's not much of a character if that's the concern.
I just don't know. There's going to be so many people that will not be happy, Grubb, either way, no matter the decision, right?
Right. If it's a good performance and, the story is interesting and the people care about the character, I think most people will get on the other side of it. We will have a lot of opinions and debate about it up until that moment where we know the movie is actually good or not. Because we're going to hear it in trailers. And, man, that first Zelda trailer, is going to be, like, it's going to say a lot. Like, what kind of tone does it have? Does it look good?
Yeah.
Are these characters sounding right? There's going to be a lot of points of contention that people can argue about on the internet. It's probably going to be pretty miserable. But I think they could pull it off as long as they just treat it with care, but they're going to have to convince people through actual effort.
I recently, for folks at home, watched for the first time Princess Mononoke. Grubb, they should just do that, if we're being honest.
I mean, obviously. Yes, obviously.
Just do that.
You already ripped it off for the game. Just do it for the movie as well. Absolutely, man. I remember we went to rent a movie at Blockbuster with me and all my friends, and the clerk there was just like, "You should get this. It's the Star Wars of anime." And we picked it up and saw the quote on the box says the Star Wars of anime, and it's like, okay, well, this guy might not know what he's talking about, but this, I don't know, this red elk thing looks pretty dope.
Yeah.
And we took it home, and it was just like, oh, this is my entire life from now on. Princess Mononoke is just so good.
Yeah, I just want to roam around with a bunch of boars trying to save forest spirits, Grubb. That's all I want.
That's my weekends, baby. That's it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that first trailer. We should get it pretty soon, right, Jan? The first trailer for this movie?
I would assume, but Grubb, I feel like the Mario
at least.
Movies have inadvertently conditioned people to expect like a happy, fun time with Nintendo movies, and this is definitely not going to match that tone of a Mario movie, and I hope it doesn't, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I feel like this isn't going to be one that families are clamoring to go see.
Yes, I think that they're still going to be concerned with like capturing that audience that showed up for the Mario movie. So I hope they don't work backward from that. Just make the best Zelda movie you possibly can, and let the chips fall where they may. Because I think if you do that right, you might not necessarily get the family audience that showed up for Mario, but you could get the family and like friend group audiences that show up for big fantasy movies like Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
that could be big in its own way.
Yeah, if they can somehow capture the magic that the Lord of the Rings fans are into, then I think they could find some success. Even the Game of Thrones audience, right? If looking for that kind of fantasy style media.
Yep. I will see. I mean, I continue to walk around every day, like saying to myself, "There's no way that movie's going to be good. It's going to be another bad video game movie." But I hope they figure it out. I would really be excited about that. All right. Sony Pictures Entertainment to lay off hundreds in reorganization across TV, film, and corporate. This is related to video games. It kind of talks about their shifting priorities. This is from Jennifer Moss at Variety. Sony Pictures Entertainment is restructuring its operations with plans for hundreds of layoffs across its film, TV, and corporate divisions. Sources tell Variety the layoffs, which are expected to result in a few hundred eliminations out of the 12,000 employees that work for the organization globally, are now underway and expected to continue into the coming months. Among the notable changes, there's leadership changes, but they also go on to say that this is not part of a cost-cutting effort. It's targeted and strategic, and they're shifting their investments away from like game shows and other old-style linear television programs to anime and video game adaptations and stuff like that. They like talk about brand adaptations and stuff, but the obvious point of emphasis there is they're making a lot more video game movies instead. And so they're like, we're taking the money we were paying for these people over here, and we're going to hire more people to work on this stuff over there. I mean, it's hard to argue at a certain point with it's a shifting landscape.
Yeah.
Certainly, I can imagine maybe making game shows isn't like as big of a business as it once was. Although, man, figure that out because people still love game shows. But anime, I get that's their core business right now. Video game adaptations have been working for a lot of people. There's every reason for Sony to be like, we own these things. We should be making more of those. How do you read all this, Jan?
Just because they own all those and are going to start focusing on those doesn't mean that they will be good, unfortunately.
No, yeah, I just expect Morbius across the board from Sony at this point.
Exactly. You look at how they have mishandled owning the Spider-Man IP, and you get something like, Morbius. What was the Dakota Johnson one? Madam Web.
Madam Web, yeah.
Being hot Garbo. And I have a very soft spot for Tom Holland in my heart. I think he's a great actor. I'm excited to see him in the new Christopher Nolan flick. But the Uncharted movie did not serve him well at all.
No.
I don't think it served anyone well, if we're being honest.
Yeah, they haven't really figured those. God, you're right. The Uncharted movie is kind of the poster child of this. It's that movie underperformed what it could have done if it was really well made, and no one talks about it. It just doesn't have a legacy. Yeah.
And the worst part, Grubb, it feels like that was like a home game for them, and they screwed the pooch because this is Uncharted is like one of their tentpole franchises, or at least was for the PlayStation, right? And to screw up the movie, a little bit of a bummer. I can't imagine producing game shows is that costly, especially once you have everything set.
That's the whole idea of them. Yeah, it's like they're really cheap to make and stuff like that. Like they're just like talking about there was like a game show group that was making original game shows, and then they also I think own Game Show Network, and they're kind of combining those things. So it's like a lot of that stuff's like, maybe there was already some redundancy or whatever. But still, it's like, you're peeling away from that stuff. And I would instead, can't you just make that stuff make sense for the modern era? There's got to be a way to like make game shows for social, but they're used to getting big paydays from TV contracts, and those TV contracts are obviously drying up for traditional game shows.
Fair enough. I did catch American Idol on a hospital TV this week, and I was just staring at it, just surprised that like, okay, wait, that's still Ryan Seacrest? Why is the actor from Hanging with Mr. Cooper here?
Oh, really?
I don't know what he was doing. The TV was on mute. I
know what it is. I have the answer.
Yes.
They were doing 90s Icons Week or something. I saw a commercial for this. There was like, there might have been an actor from Designing Women on this show. Even there was a whole bunch of like '90s TV stars, and it was like '90s superstars, and it was all like the second or third build actor from a '90s sitcom. It was great
because like one of the aunts from the Sabrina the Teenage Witch sitcom was there.
That's it. I saw. Yeah, she's flashing in my head. Yeah, from Teenage Witch.
That's perfect. Thank you, Grubb.
I'm here for you, brother. I got you on your TV watching needs.
But I'm sad to see a bunch of folks lose their job, especially in production, because production is just similar to the games industry, just so up and down and volatile. And I think when people have like steady income and steady gigs and are comfortable, they then have the leeway and the runway to tell stories or make weird stuff.
Yep. I said, why not figure out like social and stuff like that? A big part of this shift also is apparently doing more stuff on YouTube. So maybe that game show stuff does sort of re-emerge there. Man, game shows I think would do awesome on YouTube if they could really make that format make sense.
Sony, here, hey, you're listening right now. Just give Giant Bomb the bag. And
yeah, we got this.
Dan Reichert a gigantic blank check. And to just make a bunch of game shows, we'll collectively be your Mr. Beast.
Yeah, we are Mr. Beast,
and then we will reign in a new golden renaissance era of game shows.
It'll be beautiful. It'll be a utopia. Everybody,
imagine Mike Minotti hosting a game show, and then he's giving a little bit of playful guff to the contestants.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's just kind of a little cranky at the contestant.
Yeah, it's like, when they get something wrong, it's like, well, that's not actually what it is. Imagine...
Atomic Bomberman wasn't a Saturn Bomberman.
Me hosting a Family Feud adjacent thing, and I'm going down the list of the family members, and I'm just giving everyone a little smooch.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be our problematic host. Sweet. Hell
exactly.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Sweet. It's just like the 70s game shows all over again when Jan's on the show, everybody. All right, let's hit these last two stories. Take-Two Interactive reportedly lays off AI team. Yay. From Sophie McAvoy at gamesindustry.biz. Take-Two Interactive has reportedly eliminated its entire AI team as part of restructuring. The company's former head of AI, Luke Dickens, shared on LinkedIn that his time with the parent company of Rockstar and Zynga had ended. We've been developing cutting-edge technology to support game development now for 7 years, wrote Dickon. These folks know how to match innovation and novel problem-solving approaches with strong product design chops to create some systems that empower people throughout the development workflow. Former senior director of AI development Jason Leon added, over the past 6 years, first leading Zynga's game services division in Central Tech, then leading, blah, blah, blah. Basically, they're moving on from these positions because it sounds like Take-Two is no longer interested in this sort of development. They're like, hey, we don't want to have an AI team anymore. Strauss Zelnick has been a little bit out there talking down AI. I think a big part of that is he sees how excitement for AI erodes excitement for Take-Two stock because investors are stupid and they're like, hey, well, obviously we don't need Take-Two and Rockstar anymore to make the Grand Theft Auto 6s. We're going to be able to do that without them. And obviously that's insane, but I think every time that these big companies embrace AI, that's what investors hear. So I think he's trying to be a little bit more standoffish. And at the same time, he's also mentioned in the past that they are looking at using Gen AI in other ways and AI tools, especially for development. So I don't know if he's really done with it, but this is definitely them being like, we're not embracing this. Do you think that this is something we're going to see more of these companies be like, hey, we tested this stuff out and it wasn't all we dreamed it to be?
I hope so. Grubb. This is slightly heartening to see. But then you'll see like another gigantic media behemoth out there like Disney still doubling down on using AI and continuing to invest in that.
Yep.
I hope it's more of an instance where Square gets into NFTs 5 years too late and that they realize like, oh, sorry, that was a waste of time and money. We fucked up. And I hope that is the case. But interesting to see Take-Two just take this stance and just say like, hey, we're done with this.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and then let's see, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. It may have leaked online. So if you're worried about, like, a lot of those scenes are best if you experience them for yourself the first time. So people are trying to avoid spoilers. They might be out there. People apparently were finding copies just at Target. So it broke street date that way.
Okay.
So
I thought it was more nefarious ways other than just good old Target breaking street date.
Just showed up on a shelf in Target and someone bought like 10 copies or something like that, it looks like.
Neat.
So yeah, have fun. And then finally, happy trails, happy new adventures to Rebecca Valentine, who says she is leaving IGN, but she's not going far. She has a new gig. She's not announced it yet, though. I will be watching with great anticipation.
Rebecca Valentine is one of my favorite people in this industry.
Same. She's great. She's nice. And yeah, like I said, happy trails and on your future endeavors, all that stuff. IGN will be poorer without you, but hopefully they can continue a pretty hot streak of hiring awesome people like yourself.
Yes.
All right. That does it for the headlines, Jan. Let's go ahead and get on to the poll question from Monday. I have the results over here. Let me go ahead and refresh real quick. All right. So I wanted you guys to grade the Mario Galaxy movie. If you saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie, grade it. Their options were A, B, C, D, or lower. And most people, 38%, gave it a B. Then the next most popular answer was 28% for C, then 22% for D or lower, and 12% for A. So, as I was expecting, kind of grades spread all across the spectrum here. But most people are like B. I'm pretty happy with it. And then a little bit more in C after that. But yeah, I think that's completely fair and not too surprising, Jan.
Yeah, and the GB audience is a very specific, skewed audience that I feel like our audience is very much into watching movies and also very much not into watching movies.
Yes.
So seeing this B grade, I feel like this kind of echoes the general public sentiment of like, yeah, it was good.
It was good. Yeah, I'm sorry. They did what it needed to do.
Exactly.
All right, that's the last poll question. We have a new poll question. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Do you wait to see if an indie game gets a physical version before purchasing it digitally? Maybe I should say before purchasing it.
More likely?
Yeah. Are you more likely to? Yeah. Are you more likely to get an indie game if you know it has a physical version coming or something like that? We'll figure out the exact wording. Basically, we're just trying to see if physical moves the needle for you when it comes to these smaller indie games.
Yeah.
We'll get that question posted on youtube.com/@giantbomb. If you go to the post tabs, you'll be able to find it there. Go ahead and we'll get the results. Talk about it on Game S Mornings here on Giant Bomb tomorrow. Speaking of Giant Bomb, Jan, we should have, let's see, it's Wednesday. It's time. It's Blight Club.
Wednesday. That's right. It's Blight time. Blink and you'll miss it, baby. Dan Reichert.
That's not all.
We're shipping him back to space. Forget the Artemis 2 crew that also had a lovely little clip talking about naming a portion of the moon. Folks, go check out the Carol clip.
Astronauts rule. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Astronauts are great. I thought for a second, why the fuck are we doing this? But you know what? Astronauts are cool.
Yes, inspiring.
But after this, Grubb, we're going to need a little bit of switch off time. Sean and I have dusted off the gym. It is not completely open, but Sean and I will be checking Pokemon Champions, the VGC competitive Pokemon game. I haven't fired it up at all. I'm looking to go in super fresh and explore the offerings of it. Maybe we'll get the chance to build a team. We'll go enter some battles. We shall see.
I'm excited to watch that, and plenty more happening on Giant Bomb for the rest of the week, everybody. With all that out of the way, though, I think what we got to do now is wrap up the show, Jan. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Happy Sandwich Wednesdays.
Happy Sandwich Wednesday to everybody who celebrates. Happy Sandwich Wednesday to everyone who doesn't. It's a good day one way or the other. Thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.